love yourself, commit to yourself, and believe in yourself like no other. Don't listen to anyone tell you you can't, you don't have that gift. If it makes you feel good, if it makes you come alive, if it helps you find you, just go for it. My name is Michelle Edgar. I'm a student here at UCLA Law School. I am preparing for the USATF National Championships in Iowa. I was born in London, grew up outside of New York City, New Jersey, moved here when I was 3 years old. Growing up as a young girl, I was driven and I wanted to get good grades. We have pictures of me just playing the piano, sitting there for hours at a time, even when I didn't know how to read music. And I was born with perfect pitch, and my mom and my father realized that I had that gift. I know what practice was like because I loved practicing piano and I had to do it for hours at a day. So I would play piano, come home after school before I got my homework done. I would play my piano, practice, because I would go to music school on Saturdays and then do my homework. So I knew that there was sacrifices and a different way of life, that as a young girl I was striving and looking to build something that not many were doing, and that I went to school with. And I did really love going to the gym and sports in high school, but my mom made me decide, do I do sports or music? At a young age, I played basketball.
Basketball was a high school. She already was playing piano and she was in Manhattan School of Music. But when she told me about the basketball, I said, that's not really sport for you. And sure enough, a few days later, she came back with a broken finger, and that already stopped her playing basketball and playing a piano for a while. So after that, I said, forget it, no sports. Either you play piano or sports, and she stick to the piano, she stick to the music.
So I knew I had to make some decisions going to Manhattan School of Music. Either I got the opportunity to go study 9 hours a day on Saturdays, or I got to do sports in high school. So I decided to go down that track because I knew I was really gifted when it came to music. So I made the decision and commitment to myself to study professionally as a concert pianist. I remember the week leading up before everything happened, and I was driving to work that day, and I would always call my mother, and that was the morning my mom was in the hospital with my stepfather, and he was gasping for air, trying to say a few words to her, and those words were, will you move on with your life? Not knowing that the next month, in a matter of weeks, I lost him, and my life would change forever. So that was even before we knew we were going to have a pandemic and life would be shut down. So I returned to Los Angeles after being a month with my mother, and to celebrate, and to my stepfather's life, Arthur Ferraro, who's been a tremendous inspiration on this journey. But I lived with those words, and I didn't know what they meant, and they really struck a chord in me, a chord that it almost haunted me until I really figured out what those words meant. And I came back to Los Angeles totally just depleted, tired, didn't have energy, and I knew something needed to change in my life. And I had no master plan. I just knew every day I just wanted to pick my head up and keep going. So I really came to the track because it was a tough time in my life. I was very down and sad and going through some real hurdles of life. And I wanted a new arrival point, a new arrival to feel alive again, and to see people like me who are trying to better themselves when the world is shut down. What are we doing to thrive, to bring life to our souls and ignite some kind of life force in us? And I found my way on the UCLA track. It was Memorial Day weekend. I just submitted my UCLA Law application, and I thought to myself, what does it feel like to come on this track? What would I feel like? And would this be my calling? Would this be an answer to my new chapter? What would it feel like to run around the track and complete it, this way, that way, run the circles? And would I feel like an athlete? Would I come alive? would I feel like this is my school, that I'm going to end up going to law school? And all of these decisions, I didn't really know what is going to stick and how I would feel and would it really resonate with me. But I came alive. I found my rhythm immediately. I couldn't get off the track. I was here alone listening to my Spotify playlist. I had a new playlist every month that I put together during the pandemic, and something in me just came alive and sparked, and I just kept returning. It was a commitment I had made to myself, to better myself, to take this love I found just running around Westwood like Forrest Gump. I would run around Holmby Park around 8 times, 10 times. I mean, I was averaging 7-8 miles a day. And then on this track, something sparked and changed. And it was the biggest blessing, and I knew that it was my calling. I was just manifesting, dreaming that maybe one day I would get the privilege to, be a student here at UCLA Law. And it was amazing because within, I think 10 days of me discovering this track, on June 4th and returning every single day at 6 a.m. It was the one thing I looked, I couldn't wait to get out of bed to just arrive here again. And it gave me some energy, and it gave me hope, and it gave me clarity that something out there was gonna happen when I just kept going. And it just was something that I ended up falling in love with, and it made me find a new me. And at the time I didn't know that I was losing weight every single week. I mean, I lost 30 pounds before I had even met Coach. And I think that's such an important thing to understand, that when you're unhappy, so many things just, stick to you, and sometimes you just have to release. And, it's hard to relax, certainly, but you have to pick yourself up even in those difficult moments and figure out how to live a better, more peaceful, more joyful life. And that was my only plan. And I realized when I submitted that UCLA Law application, that was what I needed at the time, and I wanted that so bad. And I would come here and just say, what would it feel like? What would it feel like to call this my campus and to have the opportunity to learn from the best in class at UCLA Law and other classmates who just, we could build together our future. And that it all came to life, and I would have never dreamt, but I certainly had worked super hard, my entire career, and I wanted to, catapult my life. I knew I wanted change, and that's what those words were. My stepfather knew that move on with your life. He wanted me to live my happiest, healthiest, most vibrant life, and that's what those words were to him, to me, that he shared that day. I met Coach on the track. The track was a way of life that transformed everything in my life, beyond my wildest dreams. He stopped me on the track on June 4th. He said, "What are you training for?" And I looked at him and I had no answer. I just looked at him dumbfounded, and he said, "Wrong answer, life. You want to start training." And that was the start of our journey on June 4th, 2020. And that was a very special day. A few hours later, I came home and I received my UCLA Law acceptance letter. And then that evening, some other things in my personal life had shifted, and I knew that this was my calling. It was a very magical day for me, and I knew that I was on the right path and journey. When I first found out my mom was a runner, was my first race. My mom said, "Look at this picture." She sent it to me the morning of my race, and it brought tears to my eyes. And my mom grew up in Poland. Right after the war, they had next to nothing. And to see that she just embraced gymnastics and running, and to see the side of her, I was like, "Why didn't you tell me you were a runner all this time?" And so it was, and she said that was when she was doing the 60 meters, and 60 and 100 were her favorites. And she also did hurdles, which I haven't gone there yet. But, I was like, no wonder I, ended up getting the 60 meters All-American the week of my stepfather's 1-year anniversary. I ran in his honor. But to see my mom as a little girl, 15 years old, doing this sport, it brought tears to my eyes, tears of joy.
Well, I'm very proud. I'm impressed that she really succeeded in that far, because she was always trained as a musician, concert pianist, and now being an athlete is a big deal in her life and my life. just watching the progress.
I think running is something that you can, do 15 minutes of, you could do hours of, you could, there's all different stages and levels of where you can take your running. You just have to put on your sneakers and run out the door and start. It's just one step in front of the other. So I think it's very easy to do it, even if you only have a finite amount of time in your day, and it appeals to everyone, all ages and all types of people, and you can customize it to what is suitable for your life and your needs. And it's amazing because if you commit to it and commit in your life and to yourself, I mean, this was a personal commitment. I'd never taken such care and discipline in my life to really nurture myself. This was really a notion of self-love like I never have before. That's really what my running was. It was me healing, taking care of myself, giving myself self-love. The results are immediate. There's nothing like it. And it really allows you to then set your day, set your attention, and everything else in your life sort of shifts as a result of, just that one thing that you do for yourself, which is running. Love yourself, commit to yourself, and believe in yourself like no other. Don't listen to anyone tell you you can't, you don't have that gift. If it makes you feel good, if it makes you come alive, if it helps you find you, just go for it. It's about finding your purpose and your passion and not listening to people and focus on you and focus on being so attuned to what makes you feel good and what makes you come alive, and just go for it.